Hi, Rocky. I'm writing about Kling, and I know that you guys are friends. And I guess I would just like to ask you, what is your friendship like? What do you like about her as a person?
Oh, that's a lovely question. um, you know what? I think ever since I got here, which was during the pandemic, and I didn't know anybody, since then she showed up to be a really just nice person. She reached out. She was just checking in with me. She was really empathetic. So starting from there, I thought, wow, what a nice person. And other than that, I think she is very witty. She's hilarious. So she will make me laugh a lot of the times. And I think in friendships in general, I mean, you're friends with someone because you have things in common. And I think that um, I think yeah, some things we don't have in common, just like any other friendship. But I think the things that matter, I really cherish that from her. And she's a friend. We can talk about soccer, but also not soccer. So I don't know. I think in friendships, when you have that chemistry with someone, it just happens. And sometimes, I mean, with Kling, actually, we're really different people. So sometimes I've asked myself that question too. But like, I don't know. I think we just care about each other, and that's what matters.
All right, just a reminder to raise your hand if you have a question. And Rocky, I did mean to ask you your thoughts on Washington Spirit and how you guys approach them as an opponent.
Washington Spirit is a really hard opponent, just like any other team in the NWSL. So, obviously we already played against them once at home, their home. But that game doesn't really matter. Obviously, both teams have now players that weren't in that game, and for us coming from this past weekend, we feel like we obviously always have to get better, but especially after this past weekend, we are looking forward to, you know, see the details, what we can do better, what we can keep doing. And every single game matters because it's 3 points that we want to get.
Thank you. Do we have any more questions for Rocky? We'll go back to Caitlin Best.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, you guys have well, it's halfway done now, but you're having a whole week to rest and recover and train ahead of this weekend. Has that been good? And do you feel like you're sort of getting back to a more rested, more prepared place?
Yeah, after this past month, a full week feels like a month. So definitely, I think we can finally have that week. And it has obviously its pros. So yeah, it definitely feels like we can take advantage of that, and the team is slowly coming back from its recovery, but surely, and it's part of being in the NWSL in the Portland Thorns is, having to deal with a hard game every single weekend and maybe some plus other games. But yeah, surely this week feels like we finally have time to not only recover, but fully prepare for the weekend.
All right, last call for questions. We'll take one last question from Caitlin.
Yeah, since I have to, I might ask another about Kling. We talked a lot about like mindfulness and living in the moment, and how that's really sort of made her more effective as a player and more like content as a person. And yeah, I'm just wondering if you guys have talked about that and what those conversations have been like.
Yeah, Kling, ever since I met her, I feel like she was already practicing, mindfulness. And I say practicing because I know from her that that is a practice. But I think that the whole team has benefited from that perspective. And obviously, we all know that she is the one that gets us ramped up before in the huddle before we go out and play. And she somehow has a capacity to say really deep things in a short way that gets us prepared for a game, and when she's talking, she's in full adrenaline, yet she says things that are really nice reminders of, everyone nowadays is saying, be yourself, but that's so vague, right? So she, I think, has the ability, like she knows what she's talking about. And I've definitely benefited from that, and I see how she lives through it. So that's really cool. Yeah, she's one of a kind.